Last one.
Hey, welcome back. New Testament Survey, the book of Acts, lecture 22. We're on Acts 27. And next week, we finish Acts. And it'll be the end of the semester for that course, and obviously we'll have a test at some point. Just to, boy, never take a big drink of soda pop when you're going to talk. Next week, the exams, if you're watching this, and it's kind of late for you, but I'll probably post it online, hopefully somewhere, is going to be Baptist Doctrine, Bible Doctrine. Exam number 3 will be over lectures 16 to 22. And Personal Evangelism, lectures 17 through 22. Exam number 3s. And then on lecture 24, we'll be starting the new semester, but we'll still have some exams. I'll have to figure out those. That's kind of just what's left over after we finish the last exam. That's how I'm going to do it to a point. So sorry for the lack of clarification there for you. Did you hear that?
Silence.
No, it's gas. Let's go on. All right, lecture 22. Here we go with Acts 27, just in time. And when it was determined that we should sail into Italy, they delivered Paul and certain other prisoners unto one named Julius, a centurion of Augustus's band. And entering into a ship of Adramyttium, we launched, meaning to sail by the coast of Asia, one Aristarchus, a Macedonian of Thessalonica, being with us. Someone's going to help me at verse 4 here. And the next day we touched at Sidon, and Julius courteously entreated Paul and gave him liberty to go unto his friends to refresh himself. 4 through 8?
I could have been reading as I was going.
And when we had launched from thence, we sailed under Cyprus, because the winds were contrary. And when we had sailed over the sea of Sicily and Pamphylia, we came to Myra, a city of Lycia. And there the certain centurion found a ship of Alexandria sailing into Italy, and he put us therein. And when we had sailed slowly many days, and scarce were come over against Cnidus, the wind not suffering us, we sailed under Crete, over against Salmon. And hardly passing it, came unto a place which is called the Fair Havens, nigh whereunto was the city of Lasea.
All right, thank you, sir. That is names. You just say them like you see them. And unless it's a very common name that everyone knows, then you say it wrong and so be it. Okay, there's some goodies right here. Luke is with Paul. It says we in verse 1. Luke is with Paul. We. Luke is with Paul. Yeah. There was a transfer made into the custody of Caesar's centurion here. Transferring over this man named Paul. And Julius is the guy, centurion of Augustus's band. This is a reasonably kind man who probably had word from Festus and Felix and Agrippa. Hey, treat this guy well. He could have been released. The guy's not guilty. Nothing to worry about. Yeah. Just treat him nice. Apparently Paul, the prisoner, could have friends with him. How do you know that?
He said we.
Nope. Verse 3. Gave him liberty to go into his friends to refresh himself.
Oh.
Well, that's true too. I'm sorry. Back it up. That may actually be right.
You said he had friends with him.
Yes. We should sail into Italy. Some said Luke was under arrest too. I read a commentary on that. Okay, yeah, so that's the we part. Yeah, that fits just fine. Now this Aristarchus guy, I did some extra research beyond my commentary in my own brain. I went to other learned men. Adam Clark's commentary about Aristarchus. We have seen this person with Paul at Ephesus during the disturbances there in Acts 19:29, where he had been seized by the mob and was in great personal danger. He afterward attended Paul to Macedonia and returned with him to Asia. Acts 20, verse 4. Now accompanying him to Rome, he was there a fellow prisoner with him. Is that true? So Adam Clark is saying that these guys are all prisoners with Paul. It could just be his friends, though. Okay, let's go back to his notes. Colossians 4:10, and is mentioned in Paul's epistle to Philemon, verse 24, who was probably their common friend. That was from a guy named Dodd, I guess, out of Adam Clark's commentary. Luke and Aristarchus were certainly not prisoners at this time. Oh, that's what Dodd said. Okay, now Adam Clark says, phew, they're probably not, certainly not prisoners at this time, and seem to have gone with Paul merely as his companions. I agree with that. Through affection to him and love for the cause of Christianity. How Aristarchus became his fellow prisoner, as is stated, Colossians 4:10, we cannot tell, but it could not have been at this time. And also, a fellow prisoner might be a fellow prisoner in the Lord. So I haven't researched. So there's something to study further on this Aristarchus, a Macedonian of Thessalonica. Kind of hung around Paul a bit. And this is good for us to think about these men that were with Paul. How did he do it? They kind of jumped with him for a while and then they're off the scene. What did he tell them to get lost? No, he put them to work with the church. Or had his own evangelism trails. Going on with Julius. Who's Julius? Adam Clark again. At the conclusion of the preceding chapter, it has been intimated that the kind treatment which Paul received, both from Julius and at Rome, was owing to the impression made on the minds of Agrippa and Festus relative to his innocence. It appears that Julius permitted him to go ashore and visit the Christians which were then at Sidon, without using any extraordinary precautions to prevent his escape. Okay, that's pretty obvious. And Augustus band, I didn't even comment on that, but they had bands, not rock band type. They had a large group of soldiers. So a centurion would be, he's in charge of 100. But a band, and I didn't look it up, so this is just my interpretation. A band is groups of hundreds. Maybe it's 1,000, but it's bigger than just a centurion, because he's a centurion of this other larger group, Augustus' band. A band of soldiers. A band of centurion, hundreds of soldiers. Okay, travel back then was difficult. One had to hope that there would eventually be a ship traveling your way. It's like going to an airport and waiting for a plane to travel to your destination. No, it's not like that at all, actually. You go to O'Hare or Atlanta, you're going to find a plane that day to your destination, probably. But so it's not quite that way. Traveling long distances could be a several-month endeavor. Because we know what happened. He was caught in this... Is this where it all happens? Oh, yeah, this is where it all happens. I'm sorry. I had studied this, didn't know if we had covered it already. So this is where he goes on his journey, and then there's Euroclydon, the hurricane. And they have to winter in a port. Now, the Spare Havens is actually a real port. If you look on your map, down at the bottom, following the red line, on Crete, island of Crete, there's Spare Havens. So they were going to stay there, which is near Lycia. See Lycia? Yeah, it is right near it. Okay. So, we'll go on reading. Now, when much time was spent and when sailing was now dangerous because the fast was now already past, Paul admonished them. So we're going to figure out what a fast is here. And said unto them, Sirs, I perceive that this voyage will be with hurt and much damage, not only of the lading and ship, but also of our lives. Nevertheless, the centurion believed the master and the owner of the ship more than those things which were spoken by Paul. Someone finish that?
And because the haven was not commodious to winter in, the more part advised to depart thence also, if by any means they might obtain to Phenice, and there to winter, which is a haven of Crete, and lieth toward the southwest and northwest. And when the south wind blew softly, supposing that they had obtained their purpose, losing thence they sailed close by Crete.
Okay, so look at them going along on the map there. Right along the edge of Crete, looking for this, might attain Phoenicia and there to winter. They don't have it on the map, but it's probably near the end or around the corner there a little bit. Alright, the fast in verse 9. The fast was now past. The fast is thought to have been referring to the fast with the Day of Atonement in late September. Many commentaries say this. But I believe it to be referring to the trade winds. Fast sailing with the winds at your back.
I don't know.
The fall and winter weather was coming and would be dangerous to sail then. So you think about that, and I don't know, as I remember the commentaries I looked at, maybe 4 or 5 on this fast issue, all 5 seem to say it's probably this Day of Atonement fast. But that just doesn't make sense to me. One did mention, though, it could be this deal with the trade winds. So it's not just coming out of my head somewhere. She doesn't know. Sister Hune does not know. Anyone else?
I've just never.
You're meaning
What I mean is
you don't know
I've
what?
never heard it before.
what?
It referring to fast sailing.
Okay, fascinating. You've heard it as a
It's not.
fast.
It's like it's not a sailing term. It's not a
Well, look at the. Okay, here we go now. You want to go? Well, with me. Here we go. Here we go with an expert who's trained in the skill of Bible stuff. Okay, verse 9 says, "Now when much time was spent," and then it says, "and when sailing was now dangerous because the fast was now already past." How is sailing dangerous because the Day of Atonement
because
fast
a
is past?
certain time period, a certain date had passed, a certain
And pony
season,
ropes.
a certain season had passed. That's
Oh,
what.
yeah. Okay, I'm still sticking by my statement, but I am not real confident with it, but I'm sticking by it. I'm voting for... I heard this morning, my son said Romney did not do well this morning. Santorium did even worse. Gingrich wasn't too bad. They said Perry did all right. A lot of gaffes. Like
Perry stayed in there? I thought he was quitting.
No, he's still going. He's got money. That money is going. And then Huntsman... No, it's not even go there. And then, of course, Ron Hall. It doesn't look good for the next 4 years. It doesn't look good.
Did they have a debate with Obama?
No, they don't do that.
Pick on each other.
Yeah, this time they pick on each other more in this New Hampshire debate we're talking about online students. You probably already know who the candidate is now, or it may be past November 2012, and you go, you wouldn't believe who got nominated. It was a Romney Sarah Palin ticket. Who would have thought? Let's go on. The fall and winter weather was coming. It would be dangerous to sail in. Okay, that's the key thing, though. It's going to be dangerous. They've got to get this figured out. Back then, to travel to other countries would take months. How, pray tell, would you have enough money to stay a whole winter somewhere in a foreign country? Hotel and food costs. What would that cost? You're going to go sailing around Italy, and then you say, okay, I'll stay here for the winter. How much money are you going to need, Brother Eric?
No, because you're going to stay on the boat.
He was a prisoner. He didn't have to pay anything.
You're going to stay on the boat.
How about Luke and... Oh, boy. How are they going to stay?
They were prisoners.
Okay, well,
I don't know.
anyways.
They're in a galley.
Just thinking outside the box, so to speak. It'd be expensive. Because if you were just sailing on a normal ship type of thing, they're not going to do it.
No, you would tie up in the port and then you would stay on the ship.
Stay on the ship?
Yeah.
Okay, how about food? Okay, food!
Maybe he meant...
You got your little cot in the back room. How about food, man?
Tents.
That I don't know.
Ah, yeah. You did not think that one out, did you?
He's a tent
Sure.
maker.
So I did have a point here as I'm being pummeled by my class. What?
Yeah, they're served.
You got a cigar there,
They
sir?
went into hibernation.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
What?
The food is served to prisoners.
Thank you. All right, we got it from the expert. Okay. Well, if they weren't prisoners.
They brought it with them.
Hotel for customers. Okay, anyways, just throw out the whole lesson here, I guess. Why would you believe a prisoner over the captain of the ship anyways? Right, okay, so it's not astounding that they didn't believe Paul, but they did actually think about it some. Paul, this guy is pretty impressive. But he's not a, he's not an aeronautical navigator type guy. Aeronautical?
That's the wrong way to go.
What is ship?
Nautical.
Nautical.
He was in the Navy.
It wasn't a water nautical type of guy.
He was
Yeah, I was
never on
in
a
the
ship.
Navy for 11 and a half years. Only stepped foot on a ship once just to tour it with my family. It's like a civilian. I got scared.
Mary tied up at Long Beach.
One of those, yeah, it was an old Ironside, one of these old ships. Apparently Phoenicia was on the far end of Crete, so when there was soft winds in their direction, they took off towards it, following the coastline. Mere mortals think they have obtained their purpose and set sail to whatever it is they are purposed to do, but they do not figure in the hand of God in their lives, and nor the word of God with judgment coming from your sin, and a sort of a Euroclydon come along and trashing all your plans. Well, you thought everything was going to go just smooth sailing. Ha! I think the Lord wants me to move to I think the Lord wants me to move to Hawaii. Maybe He does. I think they've got a job for me there. I hear that the weather's nice. Oh, I think the south wind is blowing softly. There's just someone there, they say that they would hire me if I would come there and move there. At Walmart, they'll hire me. It's got to be the hand of the Lord. So much supposing done by Christians in relation to the supposed will of God for their life. You know, the south wind is blowing just a bit. I think so. I think it is. Yeah, it's all green lights. Oh yeah, all the way down, sure. Because this is a little wind. Is that a wind? I think it's a wind. It's a wind.
No.
I'm feeling better. 14 through 20. I'll read a bit. But not long after there arose against it a tempestuous wind called, I call it, Euroclydon. Euroclydon? I have a different term. I say Euroclydon. It sounds scarier.
You want me to look it up?
No. I want to be right on that. I wanted to say it this way. I don't want to change it. It sounds more impressive. But you can. And when the ship was caught and could not bear up into the wind, we let her drive. And running under a certain island, which is called Clauda, we had much work to come by the boat, which when they had taken up, they used helps, undergirding the ship, and fearing lest they should fall into the quicksands, strake sail, and so were driven. Someone finish?
And we being exceedingly tossed with a tempest, the next day they lightened the ship. And the third day we cast out with our own hands the tackling of the ship. And when neither sun nor stars in many days appeared, and no small tempest lay on us, all hope that we should be saved was then taken away.
Amen. Euroclydon, the only time it's mentioned in the Bible, right here. And to history, it's not well understood. Interpreters have been much perplexed about the meaning of this word, which occurs nowhere else in the New Testament. This is from Barnes' Notes. The most probable supposition is that it denotes a wind not blowing steadily from any quarter, thus a hurricane, or wind veering about to different quarters. Such hurricanes are known to abound in the Mediterranean and are now called Levanters, or Levanters, deriving their name from blowing chiefly in the Levant, left or eastern part of the Mediterranean. The name Euroclydon is derived probably from two Greek words, euros, wind, and kludon, a wave, so called from its agitating and exciting the waves. There you go. Extra information that you really didn't want to know.
I think it's cool.
Okay. Well, I didn't have enough info from all these verses, so I decided to use these guys as notes. But Euroclydon to say hurricane. It was bad. Tempestuous wind. Clauda is a small island about 20 miles south of Crete, today known as Gaudu. And I looked this up on a website, and they got a place there. It looks pretty nice. Clauda. It is a resort area, and the price of homes is quite expensive. I had to check that out to see if they might need an independent Baptist church. I don't know. Really got to check these things out.
Wait for the Clyde Islands.
Yeah. Well, there's a soft wind blowing. Probably of the Lord. I mean. The shallow waters might have caused the ship to be broken if it caught itself in the sands. So they lightened the ship. We're going to learn a little bit about ship life, because I know a lot about it, being in the Navy. They lightened the ship so that they could travel higher in the water, more buoyant and easier to control. Right? Did they lighten the ship?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What did they do?
First they threw all the cargo away.
Wait, did I misspeak here?
The ship.
Where? What verse?
19.
19. Okay, tackling the ship. All right, that's true. It is in there. So then we're a little bit further on into our text, but yes.
It's kind of scary thinking about throwing out the tackling of the ship.
Yeah.
It's pretty desperate.
They were lost out at sea between Crete. Later on, we're going to find out they're lost out at sea between Crete and Malta. Look at that. Malta is right at the, you see the A, all the way over to the left, edge of the paper, down a ways, where that arrow goes up. That's Malta. It didn't show up there because of this, at least on ours. So that's Malta. And so they're lost out at sea somewhere for 12 or so days. They felt, I mean, if you were out in that area, there doesn't look like there's many islands, many of anything. Bouncing around in a hurricane, and a ship that can hold about 276 people or so. So not a small one, but not a Navy vessel.
That's a pretty small target and fairly large.
Yeah, it is like but I could survive out at sea.
At least it's not.
They taught us in the Navy. You take that little silly Gilligan's Island white cap thing. They say you go like you fold it down and you go. Well, you're laying in the water. You take that thing and go, and it catches some air and you hold it. Yeah, hold it.
So
You have to weigh 20 pounds.
You're floating in the ocean
Supposed to
with
take
your
your-
little Navy hat.
Yes, and then you're supposed to take your dungarees or your jean-type pants, or take them off, and you tie the ends, and again you go with the air, and you can make a little buoyant. And they're right, the thing holds air. Those things are designed to hold air.
That's why they're bell bottoms.
Yeah, well the material, it's not real porous, they got this junk in it. So it holds air, and you can just sit there and
Alright.
man, it's great, got sun rays, got a cool wind blowing, you got iced tea, and a shark! And a hurricane! Alright, let's get back to it. Okay, shark, hurricane, I'll take hurricane.
We don't have hurricanes anymore.
Alright, going on. Undergirding. What's the undergirding? What do they do with the undergirding? They use helps. Helps, I don't know if it says it here. Frapping. They're going to frap something. Oh. The ancients were accustomed to pass cables or strong ropes around a vessel to keep the planks from springing or starting by the action of the sea. This is now called frapping a vessel. The operation of frapping a vessel is thus described in Falconer's Marine Dictionary. To frap a ship is to pass 4 or 5 turns of a large cable-laid rope round the hull or frame of a ship to support her in a great storm, or otherwise when it is apprehended that she is not strong enough to resist the violent efforts of the sea. So frapping. So undergirding is considered this frapping, so which they had taken up, verse 17. They used helps, undergirding the ship. So they put this stuff around.
Which means that somebody's going under the boat,
No,
moving
well,
it around the.
could be.
I don't know.
I think it's going around this way
Okay.
to hold it together.
It could be that way.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
could.
That makes more sense because if it's like this, it'll just slip off unless they have something to hold it on there. So
But you could put it over the bow and then drop it down and pull it back.
that's true too. You can kind of guide it. I don't know, but it's called frapping. And never forget that. You're going to use that term many times. And straking sail. What does it mean to strake sail?
They-
The commentators go against me once again. Watch. Yeah.
they
Strake sail. So they strake sail. We'll read 17. Don't read my notes yet. And the quicksands and they strake sail, and so we're driven. So strake sail could be they put down the sail.
No, they put 'em
They could
out.
put up the sail. Which was it?
I think
Straight
they put 'em
sail.
up.
Many major commentaries are confused on the meaning of this. Most say that it means to take down the main mast. And I looked this up, and the 2 I looked at, the most. The 2 or 3 I looked at, Barnes, Nat, Clark, one of the guys. But then you are at the mercy of the waves and have no way of directing the ship. Take a close look at verse 40. Though, it seems to give us the necessary information, so let's go to verse 40. Mr. Warner? Yes. And when they had taken up the anchors, they committed themselves unto the sea, and loosed the rudder bands, and hoised up the mainsail to the wind. Do you understand that?
So you think they striking means taking it down and hoisting it up?
I must.
They did later.
Yeah. So I'm not right. I thought I was right on that one.
I always assumed it was a past tense form of strike. Was it strike sail?
Yeah.
Did you take it down?
If I was in a bad storm, I'd use that.
Well, you usually
Sail.
take it. Well,
You just let the waves bounce you around to wherever you're going to be going.
Well, you don't want your sails up; it'll rip your
Yeah,
boat apart and
it'll
rip up
just-
your sails.
Oh, I use state-of-the-art material.
yeah.
Ah.
In a hurricane, it doesn't hurt to help.
Let's go on. I misunderstood. I thought I was beating out the commentators here, but I was humbled because verse 40 tells us that it was down already. What was the worst storm of your life? What Euroclydon did you have? Did you feel the soft wind blow just a bit, or the south wind blow softly, and you started off on this little path in your life, and then it ended up a disaster? Get married to someone you shouldn't have, take a job you shouldn't have, move, do this, join the military, come to this church. Oh. 21 through 26. But after long abstinence, Paul stood forth in the midst of them, and said, Sirs, you should have hearkened unto me, and not have loosed from Crete, and to have gained this harm and loss. And now I exhort you to be of good cheer, for there shall be no loss of any man's life among you, but of the ship. For there stood by me this night the angel of God, whose I am, and whom I serve. Someone finish it?
Saying, Fear not, Paul, thou must be brought before Caesar, and lo, God hath given thee all them that sail with thee. Wherefore, sirs, be of good cheer, for I believe God, that it shall be even as it was told me. Howbeit we must be cast upon a certain island.
Now, I don't know if I would have said, told you so, told you should have listened to me, but he said it. So this will be it. Paul was a little like Jesus was with the disciples here. So you remember, Jesus was sleeping, and they were freaking out because of the storm, and they woke up Jesus, and he goes, oh yeah, hey, be calm, or be still. And it was. But that didn't happen here. But. So Paul was just, whatever he was doing, I don't think he was biting his nails, or saying a bunch of Hail Marys and Our Fathers, or anything like that. He might have been praying some, but he also understood God's will. And he said, okay, God's in control of this one. He's going to get me to Caesar. I just hope I don't get hurt. So he's probably resting, maybe comfortably, though he might not have known exactly what was going to happen, at least until this angel spoke to him. Usually with Paul, when the angel speaks to him, it's like, hey man, it's going to be okay. Yo, Paul, take it easy. God had this happen for a reason. What? Well, maybe to cause the people of the ship to look to Paul, and ultimately to God for their problems, answers to their problems. Because some of these guys may have gotten saved through this, spiritually. There were 276 souls there. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, don't you think that could be part of his I told you so was just, you know, I have this knowledge, you didn't listen to me, it got us into a bad place, so now this time, maybe you should start listening to me.
Yes, because God is speaking to me and telling me how this is all going to work out. Now we get away from the real stuff. And I've written several books on this. And I've had visions of God, and He has spoken to me, and today that was not going to float. But back then, it was true. The angel of God. I met an angel. So there's 276 souls we'll see in the next passage. As I read the Bible, believe God even as it is told thee. Even though life looks horrible, bleak, scary, dire, you need to go, Christian, at least, we can learn from this, to trust what God has revealed to you already, at least in the Scriptures. Trust that. Take it through. Don't try and have your own ways and thinking, oh, it's okay to go. If you don't have peace about some big decision, don't do it. Now, if it's to step out by faith to do something big for the Lord, well, maybe do it. But like moving, changing churches, getting a new job or new career or starting school, something like that could possibly detract from you serving the Lord, don't do it unless it's very clear and you have great peace. Okay, back to this. Be of good cheer, for I believe God that it shall be even as it was told me. Let's see what the Bible says, and be of good cheer. God hears you. He's watching you and wants to help you. And He will help you. And He will save you, at least at the end, of course. Howbeit you must be cast upon a certain island. So it might be a little rough landing. You might be in the midst of a Euroclydon. You're wanting out. And I've got, probably not a Euroclydon, but I got like a mini Euro going on, and I'd like to be out of that thing anytime soon. But it's not horrible. It's just kind of one of those, I don't know, what is it like? It's kind of like a constant headache, or you got a thorn up in your hand, piece of wood. It's just there, and you notice it every day. It's a bother. It'd be great to have it out, but oh well. I'll go on. Let's take a break here and think about these deep thoughts about our lives.